Waking up feeling optimistic because you took your medication on time like you always do, but within an hour, the tremors are back worse than ever. Your hands shaking so badly you cannot hold your morning coffee. Your family watching with worried eyes as you struggle with the simplest tasks, and you keep asking yourself, why is the medication not working like it used to? Am I getting worse that fast? Is this just how it is going to be? From now on, what if I told you that the problem might not be your medication failing or your Parkinson's progressing faster than expected, but something as simple as what you ate for breakfast? This is the reality that thousands of people with Parkinson's face every single day, not because their treatment plan is wrong, but because nobody told them about a critical food and medication interaction that can reduce their medication effectiveness by up to 75%. Imagine taking your pills faithfully every day, spending hundreds of dollars on prescriptions, only to have a single food choice sabotage everything you are doing to manage your symptoms. I am a neurological health specialist who has worked with Parkinson's patients for over 12 years, and what I'm about to share with you changed the lives of hundreds of my clients, including Robert, a 58-year-old father of 3, who could not understand why his tremors were getting progressively worse despite increasing his medication dosage. His neurologist was puzzled, his family was losing hope, and Robert was beginning to think he would never play guitar with his grandchildren again. Then we discovered he was making one critical dietary mistake every single morning. Within 2 weeks of eliminating this food combination, his tremor intensity decreased by 42%, his on-time improved dramatically, and for the first time in months, he felt like he had some control back. Today, I am going to reveal exactly what this forbidden food combination is, why it sabotages your Parkinson's medication, and most importantly, how you can avoid it starting tomorrow morning. Before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from today? And what time of day do your Parkinson's symptoms seem the worst? Leave a comment below, because your experience might help someone else in our community realize they are not alone in this journey. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that your medication seems to work great some days, but other days it feels like you took nothing at all? You might blame it on stress, sleep, or just the unpredictable nature of Parkinson's. But what if I told you the answer is sitting right there on your breakfast plate? The forbidden food combination I am talking about is high-protein foods consumed within 1 hour of taking levodopa or carbidopa levodopa medications. Now, I know what you are thinking. Protein is supposed to be healthy. We have been told our whole lives that protein builds muscle, supports our immune system, and keeps us strong. And all of that is absolutely true. But here is what most neurologists do not have time to explain during your 15-minute appointment. Levodopa, the gold standard medication for Parkinson's that millions of people rely on every day, uses the exact same absorption pathway in your digestive system as protein, specifically large neutral amino acids. This creates a biological traffic jam. Imagine a narrow bridge where both your medication and your breakfast protein are trying to cross at the same time. They are competing for the same carriers, the same receptors, the same biological vehicles that transport them from your gut into your bloodstream. And when protein shows up in large amounts, it wins almost every time, because protein molecules are bigger, more numerous, and frankly, more aggressive at grabbing those limited transport spots. This means your carefully timed dose of levodopa, the medication you are counting on to reduce your tremors, improve your movement, and help you function throughout the day, is getting stuck at the starting line, unable to cross into your bloodstream where it can actually do its job. Research published in the journal Movement Disorders found that a high-protein meal can reduce levodopa absorption by up to 40 to 75%, depending on the amount and timing of protein consumption. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between having a functional morning and spending 3 hours stuck in a chair, unable to move properly. Let me paint You a picture of what this looks like in real life. You wake up at 7 a.m. and immediately take your Parkinson's medication with a glass of water. So far, so good. Then, at 7:30, you sit down to what seems like a healthy breakfast: 2 eggs, a Greek yogurt, maybe some turkey sausage, or a protein shake, because you have been told protein is good for you. You have been trying to eat healthy. By 9 a.m., you are wondering why you still feel stiff, why the tremors have not improved, why you cannot seem to get going. For the day, meanwhile, your medication is essentially being blocked from doing its job, trapped in your digestive system, competing unsuccessfully with all that breakfast protein for absorption. And here is the truly frustrating part. You might go back to your neurologist complaining that your medication is not working anymore. So what happens? Your doctor increases your dosage. You are now taking more medication, dealing with potentially more side effects and paying more money, all because nobody explained this simple food timing issue. This exact scenario played out with Margaret, a 62-year-old retired teacher who came to me desperate for answers. She had been on Levodopa for 3 years, and every 6 months, like clockwork, her neurologist would increase her dose. She was experiencing more dyskinesias, those involuntary movements that can be a side effect of Levodopa. She was exhausted, frustrated, and scared that her Parkinson's was progressing rapidly. When I asked Margaret to walk me through her typical morning routine, the problem became instantly clear. She was taking her medication at 6:30 a.m. and then eating a protein-heavy breakfast of scrambled eggs, cottage cheese, and turkey bacon. At 7 a.m., we are talking about at least 30 to 40 grams of protein flooding her system. When her medication was trying to get absorbed, I explained the protein competition problem to her, and we made one simple change. She moved her protein-rich breakfast to later in the morning, at least 90 minutes after her medication, and switched to a light carbohydrate-based snack like a banana or some crackers. Right after taking her pills within 1 week, Margaret called me in tears, but these were tears of relief. For the first time in over a year, she was experiencing consistent on time. Her tremors were noticeably reduced, and she had energy to take her morning walks again. We did not change her medication. We did not add any supplements. We simply stopped the food combination that was sabotaging her treatment. Before we continue to the next critical food timing mistake, I want to take a moment to invite you to something special. If you or someone you love is navigating the daily challenges of Parkinson's, and you are looking for reliable information based on science but explained in simple terms, this channel was created especially for you. Here we regularly share practical strategies, exercises, and tips that have helped hundreds of people reclaim small and large independences in their daily lives. Click the subscribe button. Now it is completely free, and this way you will not miss any technique that could make a difference in your quality of life or that of your family member. Now let us continue with the second strategy that promises to bring significant relief. The second forbidden food combination is dairy products, especially milk and cheese, consumed close to medication time. Now this might surprise you because dairy is often recommended as a good source of calcium and protein for older adults. But when it comes to Parkinson's medication timing, dairy creates a double problem. First, dairy is high in protein, and as we just discussed, protein competes with levodopa for absorption. But there is a second issue that makes dairy particularly problematic. Dairy products, especially whole milk and aged cheeses, can slow down gastric emptying. This is the rate at which food moves from your stomach into your small intestine, where medication absorption actually happens. Think of your stomach as a waiting room and your small intestine as the office where the real work gets done. Levodopa cannot be absorbed in your stomach. It has to make it to the small intestine to enter your bloodstream. When you consume dairy products, particularly fatty dairy, they create a thick coating in your stomach that slows everything down. Your medication sits there in the waiting room, sometimes for an hour or more, unable to get to where it needs to be to start working. A study from the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery and Psychiatry found that whole milk consumed with levodopa can delay the medication's peak effect by up to 90 minutes and reduce its overall effectiveness by approximately 30%. This explains why so many of my clients report that their medication seems to take forever to kick in on mornings when they have cereal with milk or a latte with their pills. Let me tell you about David, a 51-year-old architect who loved his morning routine cappuccino and a bagel with cream cheese every single day. Without fail, he would take his Parkinson's medication and then head straight to his favorite coffee shop. David could not understand why he felt like a different person by mid-morning compared to weekends when he skipped the coffee shop. His weekday mornings were marked by significant tremors, stiffness, and what he called brain fog. But on Saturday and Sunday, when he slept in and had a simpler breakfast, he felt noticeably better. When we examined his routine, the culprit was obvious: that large cappuccino made with whole milk and cream cheese were delivering a massive dose of dairy fat and protein right alongside his medication. We experimented with a simple change. David started taking his medication 30 minutes before leaving the house and switched his cappuccino to a non-dairy alternative like almond milk or oat milk. He still got to enjoy his coffee shop ritual, but without the dairy interference. Within 10 days, David reported what he called a minor miracle. His morning tremors decreased by approximately 35%. His medication started working within 45 minutes instead of the previous 90 to 120 minutes, and his brain fog lifted significantly, all from eliminating one food combination. Now, I know some of you are thinking, if I cannot have protein or dairy with my medication, what am I supposed to eat in the morning? This is a completely valid concern, and I want to address it directly. You absolutely need protein in your diet. Protein is essential for maintaining muscle mass, supporting immune function and overall health. The key is not eliminating protein, it is strategically timing it. The general recommendation from movement disorder specialists is to allow at least 60 to 90 minutes between taking your levodopa medication and consuming high-protein foods. Some people with particularly sensitive systems might need even more time, up to 2 hours. What you can safely consume shortly after medication includes simple carbohydrates like toast without butter, crackers, rice cakes, or oat made with water instead of milk. Fruits like bananas, apples, or berries, which provide quick energy without interfering with absorption. Fruit juices that are not fortified with protein. Smoothies made with non-dairy milk and primarily fruit rather than protein powder. These options give your body some fuel to start the day without creating that problematic competition for absorption that we talked about then. Once your medication has had time to be absorbed, typically 60 to 90 minutes, you can enjoy a protein-rich meal without any concerns. In fact, some Parkinson's nutrition specialists recommend concentrating your protein intake at dinner time, when most people take their last medication dose several hours earlier. This approach allows you to get all the protein your body needs without interfering with daytime medication effectiveness. Before we move to our third and final forbidden food combination, I want to create a moment of pause and reflection. Is there a question about Parkinson's that you have always wanted to ask but never found the right space for it? Maybe a doubt that seems too simple to bring to your doctor, or a fear that you keep deep in your heart about the future. Know that this space is safe for all questions without judgment or simplistic answers. Leave your question in the comments. You can simply copy and complete this sentence. My biggest doubt about Parkinson's is often the question you have is the same one that dozens of other people are silently trying to answer. I promise that in the coming weeks we will address the most frequently asked questions in specific videos with information based on evidence but explained in simple and human terms. Your question can help not only you, but an entire community of people who may not have the courage to ask. Now let us continue with our second strategy that can bring practical answers to many of the questions that arise in daily life. The third forbidden food combination that sabotages Parkinson's medication is iron-rich foods and iron supplements taken at the same time as levodopa. This is one of the most overlooked medication interactions, and it can be absolutely devastating to medication effectiveness. Iron binds directly to levodopa in your digestive system, forming a complex that your body simply cannot absorb. It is like handcuffing your medication to a heavy anchor that prevents it from ever entering your bloodstream. The interaction between iron and levodopa is so powerful that even small amounts of iron can significantly reduce medication absorption. We are talking about a potential reduction of 50 to 75% in levodopa bioavailability. When iron and levodopa are consumed together, common sources of dietary iron that cause this problem include red meat, particularly beef and lamb, dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, and collard greens, iron-fortified cereals and breads, liver and organ meats, beans and lentils, especially when consumed in large amounts, and of course iron supplements, which many older adults take for anemia. Low iron levels here is where this gets particularly tricky. Many people with Parkinson's, especially older adults, are also dealing with anemia or low iron levels. Their primary care doctor might prescribe iron supplements to address this completely separate health issue. But if nobody is coordinating care between the primary doctor and the neurologist, you end up in a situation where one medication is directly cancelling out the other. Let me share the story of Patricia, a 67-year-old grandmother who came to me absolutely convinced that her Parkinson's was rapidly progressing. Despite being on maximum doses of her medications, Patricia had been diagnosed with mild anemia 6 months earlier, and her primary care physician had started her on an iron supplement that she was instructed to take every morning with breakfast. Patricia, being a diligent patient, took all her morning medications together, her Parkinson's medication, her iron supplement, her blood pressure pill, all at the same time with her breakfast. Over the following months, her Parkinson's symptoms got progressively worse. Her tremors increased, her mobility decreased, and she started experiencing more frequent freezing episodes. Her neurologist kept increasing her levodopa dose, assuming the disease was progressing, but nothing seemed to help when Patricia and I sat down to review every single thing. She was taking every supplement, every vitamin, every medication. The iron supplement jumped out immediately. I explained how iron binds to levodopa and prevents absorption, and we developed a new schedule. Patricia would take her Parkinson's medication first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, then wait 90 minutes before having breakfast and taking her iron supplement. Alternatively, she could take the iron supplement at bedtime several hours after her last levodopa dose. The change was dramatic. Within 5 days, Patricia noticed significant improvement in her morning mobility. Within 2 weeks, her tremors had decreased by approximately 40%, and her freezing episodes were cut in half. We did not change her Parkinson's medication dosage at all. We simply stopped the iron from blocking it. The lesson here is critical. If you are taking iron supplements or consuming iron-rich foods, you must separate them from your levodopa medication by at least 2 hours, preferably more. This applies to multivitamins that contain iron as well. Always check the label. Many senior multivitamins contain 100% or more of the daily recommended iron intake. Now, some of you might be wondering, what if I need both iron for my anemia and levodopa for my Parkinson's? How do I manage both? The answer is strategic timing and possibly adjusting the form of iron. You are taking first talk to both your neurologist and your primary care doctor. Make sure they know about all your medications and supplements. Many doctors are simply not aware of how significant the iron-levodopa interaction is. Second, consider taking iron supplements at bedtime or in the afternoon, several hours after your last morning levodopa dose. Third, if you are taking iron for anemia, ask your doctor if you truly need supplementation. Sometimes dietary changes can address mild anemia without the need For supplements that interfere with Parkinson's medication, consider the form of iron. Some forms like ferrous sulfate bind more aggressively to levodopa than others. Your doctor might be able to prescribe a different iron formulation that is less problematic. Never take a multivitamin or mineral supplement at the same time as levodopa. If it contains iron, even small amounts of iron in a multivitamin can reduce levodopa absorption. Now let me address something really important that ties all three of these forbidden food combinations together: the concept of medication timing. Windows. Think of your levodopa medication as having a very specific window of opportunity to get absorbed into your bloodstream and start working. This window is relatively narrow, typically 30 to 90 minutes after you take the pill. During this critical window, your digestive system needs to be as free as possible from competing substances. That means minimal protein, minimal dairy, and absolutely no iron. The ideal protocol that I recommend to most of my clients follows this pattern. Wake up and immediately take your levodopa medication with a full glass of water. Wait 30 to 45 minutes before consuming anything other than water, simple carbohydrates. If you need something to settle your stomach right away, a few crackers or a small piece of toast without butter is fine after 60 to 90 minutes. Once your medication has had time to be absorbed, you can eat a more substantial breakfast including protein, dairy, or iron-rich foods. If desired, plan your lunch and dinner around your medication. Schedule as well. If you take medication multiple times per day, you will need to create similar timing windows throughout the day. Some people find it easier to concentrate their protein intake at dinner time when it is several hours after their last medication dose. This might sound complicated at first, and I understand that adapting to a new eating schedule requires effort and planning, but I promise you the results are worth it when you eliminate these three forbidden food combinations and optimize your medication timing. You are giving your treatment the best possible chance to work effectively. Let me be crystal clear about what this approach can and cannot do. This is not a cure for Parkinson's. This is not going to stop disease progression, and this is not a replacement for your prescribed medications. What this approach does is maximize the effectiveness of the treatment you are already taking. It removes the dietary obstacles that prevent your medication from working as intended. It can help you achieve better symptom control with your current medication dose, or in some cases even allow your doctor to reduce your dosage. If you are experiencing side effects from high doses, many of my clients report improvements, like reduced tremor intensity by 30 to 50% more consistent on time, meaning the periods when their medication is working effectively, longer duration of medication effectiveness throughout the day, fewer off periods when symptoms return before the next dose is due, reduced need for medication, dose increases, better overall mobility, and fine motor control, improved energy levels, and reduced fatigue, better sleep quality, because daytime symptoms are better controlled, and perhaps most importantly, a renewed sense of control and hope, knowing that they can actively influence how well their treatment works. It is this last point that I find most powerful. When you have been living with Parkinson's for years, watching your independence slowly slip away, despite faithfully taking your medications, discovering that something as simple as food timing can make a real difference. It is incredibly empowering. Robert the guitar, playing grandfather, I mentioned at the beginning, is a perfect example. After we corrected his morning protein timing issue, he not only experienced physical improvements, but his entire outlook changed. He went from feeling helpless and resigned to feeling like an active participant in his own care. He started paying attention to other aspects of his health, his sleep, his stress levels, his exercise routine, because he finally believed that his actions could make a difference. That shift in mindset from victim to active participant is sometimes just as important as the physical improvements. Now, I want to address some common questions and concerns that come up when I discuss these food and medication interactions with clients, the first question is usually, do I really have to be this strict about timing? Can I just reduce protein instead of timing it carefully? The answer is that timing is far more important than total amount you need. Adequate protein in your diet for overall health. The goal is not to eat less protein, but to eat it at times when it will not interfere with medication absorption. Being strict about the timing windows, especially in the first few weeks, allows you to see maximum benefit. Once you have established a routine that works, you will have a better sense of your personal tolerance and can adjust as needed. Some people are more sensitive to these interactions than others. The second common question is, what if I forget and eat the wrong thing at the wrong time? Do I need to take another dose of medication? No, do not double dose. If you accidentally consume a high-protein meal or dairy shortly after your medication, just be aware that this dose might not work as effectively as usual. Take note of how you feel and use it as a learning experience for next time. Your next scheduled dose will be an opportunity to get back on track. The third question I hear often is, does this apply to all Parkinson's medications or just levodopa? The protein and iron interactions primarily affect levodopa and carbidopa levodopa medications. Other Parkinson's medications like dopamine agonists, MAO-B inhibitors or KOMT inhibitors, generally do not have the same food interactions. However, you should always check with your pharmacist or doctor about specific interactions for any medication you are taking. The fourth question is about coffee. Many people ask if coffee interferes with levodopa absorption. The research on this is mixed. Some studies suggest that moderate caffeine intake does not significantly affect levodopa absorption, while others suggest it might have a minor impact. What is more problematic is coffee with milk or cream. Because of the dairy protein issue, black coffee or coffee with a small amount of non-dairy milk is generally fine to consume with, or shortly after medication. The fifth question relates to timing multiple medications throughout the day. If you take levodopa 3 or 4 times daily, how do you create timing windows around each dose? This requires planning, but it is definitely doable. Many of my clients find success with a schedule like this. First dose upon waking with simple carbohydrates. 30 minutes later, protein-rich breakfast. 90 minutes after medication, mid-morning snack of fruit or crackers. Second dose before lunch. Crackers lunch. 60 to 90 minutes later can include moderate protein. Afternoon snack. Third dose late afternoon. With fruit dinner, several hours later, can be protein-rich bedtime snack if needed. Avoiding protein. This type of schedule ensures each medication dose gets optimal absorption while still allowing you to eat regular balanced meals. The key is planning ahead and being consistent. Another important consideration is nutritional adequacy. Some people become so focused on avoiding protein around medication time that they end up not eating enough protein. Overall, this is a mistake and can lead to muscle loss, weakness, and other health problems. The average adult needs about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. Someone weighing 70 kilograms or 154 pounds needs about 56 grams of protein daily. You can absolutely get this amount by concentrating protein at certain times of the day. A dinner with 4 ounces of chicken or fish provides about 35 grams of protein. A mid-afternoon snack of Greek yogurt adds another 15 to 20 grams, and you have met your daily needs without interfering with morning and midday medications. I also want to address the emotional and social aspects of dietary timing. Changes eating is deeply social and cultural, and changing when and what you eat can feel isolating or frustrating. You might feel self-conscious. Explaining to family why you cannot eat the same breakfast they are having, or worried about being difficult when eating at restaurants or friends' homes, is what I tell my clients. Your health and quality of life are worth any minor social awkwardness. Most people are understanding and supportive when you explain that timing your food helps your medication work better. Restaurants are accustomed to accommodating dietary needs, and friends who care about you will want to help you feel your best. You can also get creative with solutions. If your family eats a protein-heavy breakfast together, join them at the table with your fruit and toast, and then have your protein-rich meal later. When you go out for brunch, order something carbohydrate-based like pancakes or French toast, and save the protein meal for dinner. These small adaptations let you maintain social connections while protecting your health. Let me share one final success story that brings together all three of these forbidden food combinations and shows the cumulative power of getting medication timing right. James was a 64-year-old retired firefighter who had been living with Parkinson's for 7 years. When I first met him, James was on high doses of carbidopa-levodopa 4 times daily, plus 2 additional Parkinson's medications. Despite all this medication, he was experiencing significant symptoms, tremors that made it hard to eat, rigidity that limited his mobility, and unpredictable off periods that left him essentially immobile for hours. At a time when I reviewed his typical day, the problems were everywhere. He was taking his morning medication with a protein shake and multivitamin that contained iron. He was having a yogurt and cheese stick as a mid-morning snack shortly after his second dose, and he was drinking whole milk throughout the day. Essentially, James was systematically blocking every single dose of his medication from being properly absorbed. We created a complete restructuring of his eating and medication schedule, eliminating all 3 forbidden combinations, protein, dairy, and iron, from his medication. Timing windows the first week was admittedly challenging for James. He had to break long-standing habits and think carefully about everything he ate and when. But by week 2, the results started showing. His morning tremors, which had been severe, were noticeably reduced. His off periods became shorter and less frequent. By week 4, James and his neurologist were able to reduce one of his supplementary Parkinson's medications completely. 6 months later, James was functioning better than he had in 3 years. His tremor reduction was approximately 55%. Compared to when we started, he had regained enough hand control to help his wife with cooking, something he had not done in over 2 years, and he was walking a mile every morning, something he thought he would never do again. What changed? James did not get a new medication. He did not have surgery. He did not discover some miracle supplement. He simply stopped sabotaging the medications he was already taking by eliminating the 3 forbidden food combinations. This is the power of understanding how food and medication interact and respecting those interactions through careful timing. As we wrap up today, I want to emphasize a few critical takeaways. First, these dietary timing strategies are meant to complement, not replace, your prescribed medical treatment. Never stop or change your Parkinson's medications without consulting your neurologist. Second, everyone with Parkinson's is different. What works perfectly for one person might need adjustment for another. Pay attention to your body. Keep notes on what you eat when you take medication and how you feel. This information is incredibly valuable. Third, be patient with yourself. Changing lifelong eating habits takes time. Give yourself grace when you make mistakes and celebrate the small victories. Fourth, communicate with your healthcare team. Make sure your neurologist, primary care doctor, and pharmacist all know about every medication and supplement you are taking. Many medication interactions can be avoided with proper communication. And fifth, remember that managing Parkinson's is a marathon, not a sprint. Small, consistent improvements in how you time your food and medication can add up to significant quality of life gains over time. If this video has brought you some hope or useful information, I would like to invite you to be part of our support community here on the channel. Living with Parkinson's presents unique challenges that often only those who go through them truly understand. By subscribing to the Beyond Parkinson channel, you will have access to new videos every week with specific techniques for each Parkinson's symptom, from exercises to improve balance, to strategies to reduce morning stiffness. Our commitment is to bring content that truly makes a difference in your daily life, filtered and tested by experts, but explained in simple and direct language. Many of our subscribers report that small changes learned here have transformed their independence and confidence. To subscribe is very simple. Just click the subscribe button below this video and then the bell to be notified when we publish new content. Remember, you are not alone in this journey, and every step counts. We want to accompany and support your progress and celebrations. Every small victory matters, and we are here to help you achieve many of them. Thank you for being with us today, and we hope to see you in our next video. Take good care of yourself.